Lesson number 80 is about using scale factor to solve ratio problems. And the first question says, sadly, the ratio of flowers to weeds, not weeks, weeds, this should be a D, weeds in the garden was 2 to 5. If there were 30 flowers in the garden, how many weeds were there? So, what we're going to do is we're going to say the ratio of flowers to weeds. And we're going to call that F to W, and we'll make it as a fraction. Flowers to weeds. The ratio of flowers to weeds was 2 to 5. That means for every 2 flowers, there are 5 weeds. So the question says if there were 30 flowers in the garden, how many weeds were there? So there's 30 flowers in the garden. If there's 30 flowers in the garden, how many weeds are there? That's what we need to figure out with this problem. And the way we're going to figure that out is to multiply by a scale factor. Let's box this so we know it's separate. And we're going to say 2 times some fraction equal to 1 is going to be equal to 30. And this fraction equal to 1 will tell us how many weeds there are. So 2 times 15 is 30. So our scale factor is 15/15, or 1. So we need to figure out 5 times 15 to tell us how many weeds there were. 5 times 15. Well, we've got 5 times 5. That's 25. We carry our 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 more is 7. We get 75. So we've got our answer. In the garden, there must be 75 weeds when there's 30 flowers. We want to make sure we've got a label on our answer. And we could go on to the next question. A scale factor is always going to be some fraction that's equivalent to 1. Let's look at our next problem. The ratio of cats to dogs in the neighborhood was 2 to 5. If there were 10 dogs, how many cats were there? So, ratio of cats to dogs. Cats is C, dogs is D, so cats to dogs. The ratio is going to be 2 to 5. So, 2 cats for every 5 dogs. Now, we know that there were 10 dogs, and what we want to know is how many cats there were. So we're going to multiply this by a scale factor, a fraction equal to 1, that's going to give us 10 dogs. Now remember, dogs are on the bottom of our fraction, the denominator, so we've got to keep them in the denominator in our answer. So our scale factor, well, 5 times 2 is 10. So our scale factor is some fraction equal to 1, so it must be 2 over 2. So to find our answer, we're going to say 2 times 2, that's 4. How many cats were there? There must have been 4 cats. So we could go ahead, we could write our answer with our label, 4 cats, box it or circle it, and we can move on to our next question. Whenever we use those scale factors, we're multiplying our ratio by some fraction equal to 1 to help us find our new answer. Our lesson practice will be on page 425. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.